Hello everyone, back tuning into today's second video. We're going to have a look at the weather for the next week to 10 days. For today's second video, it's taken around the 25th of March. So we're heading towards the final stages of the month now with the week to 10 day video updates. And actually, as we extend out beyond that sort of couple of weeks away, that is getting us pretty much to the end of March now with the extended GFS and also ECM ensembles. So but we really are running down the clock now in the week to 10 day video updates to the end of March. We just released JMA Friday earlier on this afternoon. It's your month-end look ahead, and it takes into the middle of April. It does look as though high pressure is going to become increasingly influential in the next month. So we're going to have plenty of anticyclonic influences if the JMA and CFS feature models are correct. Big if, of course, but that's certainly the signal today. Have a look at JMA Friday and see what's going on. So we'll start today's week to 10 day video update off with the Arctic and North Atlantic oscillation observed and forecast charts. So the black line here tells us where we've been with the Arctic oscillation, the red lines at the end, where the GFS ensembles are forecasting the Arctic oscillation to go. We are in an extended positive phase of the Arctic oscillation now. We have been since around the early to middle part of February, so it's been around a month now. We've been positive with the AO, and if the GFS ensembles are correct, it looks like the Arctic oscillation will be staying positive as well. So that's where we are right now, very positive with the Arctic oscillation. It does take a little bit of a dip as we go through towards the middle part of March, but then after that it looks as though the Arctic oscillation is lifting back up again, and overall it looks like to the end of March, which is this period just here, it looks as though the AO is generally going to be solidly in positive territory. So strong positivity of the Arctic oscillation in the next week to 10 days, next couple of weeks perhaps, tells us that westerlies are going to continue to be strengthened. We have low pressure up over the pole rather than high pressure over the pole. That's going to drive the Arctic oscillation positive, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be particularly unsettled. In fact, we may have quite a bit of dry weather if the Azores high becomes strengthened across the country. We have a look at the North Atlantic oscillation, and it's a very similar idea. So again, the black line tells where we've been with the NAO, the red lines at the end, where the GFS ensembles are forecasting the NAO to go. In a really prolonged positive phase of the NAO. We've been in this prolonged positive phase of the NAO since the early part of December, can you believe, going back to here. Had the odd day or two when we've got a little bit negative with the NAO, but overall very positive with the NAO since the beginning of the winter. That's where we are right now, still positive with the North Atlantic oscillation and GFS ensembles, red lines at the end, forecasting the NAO to stay positive as well. So there's no sign of an end to this positive run of the North Atlantic oscillation, certainly not before the end of March. If you put both the positive AO together with the positive NAO, it tells us that the westerly flow, the zonal flow, is strengthened. But as I said, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be wet. You can get it very wet, as we have had it, wet and windy conditions over the past couple of weeks with a positive AO and NAO. But also, if the Azores high strengthens enough, you will ridge the Azores high into Europe and into the UK, and that can actually be a relatively dry and mild, even quite warm scenario at this time of the year. But one thing this does rule out, though, is any particular northern blocking signal. We don't see any sign of northern blocking, so we can probably not rule out, but we can say that the chance of a really cold spell of weather with late season snow and severe frost, kind of weather that we had back in second half of March 2013, we can say that's pretty much off the menu. That's not going to happen because the conditions in the Arctic are just not right for that to happen. These are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. We're looking at Margate today. So yesterday we looked at Portsmouth. Today we're looking at Margate going along the south coast. So this is another suggested location for this section of the video of places that you want to see. If you would like to suggest your local town or city, please let me know either through the comments or email me at dowsurface@gmail.com. Tell me where you'd like to see for this section of the video. We're always happy to feature your local town or city. We can't go down to village level, not yet, but we can go down to local town, and we certainly can show your local city. So let me know where you'd like to see in subsequent videos. At the moment, the I said red line here is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Margate. Moment we're milder than average, going to go colder than average over the weekend. It'll be quite a chilly end to weekend. It starts next week. But then through next week and pretty much running through to the end of March, really, we're keeping the temperatures, upper air temperatures, above average then. So going into quite a prolonged spell of above average temperatures, both in terms of upper air temperatures and down on the surface starting through the course of next week. Precipitation-wise, a drying trend as well. So we've got more rain coming up over the next few days. Certainly over the weekend, and probably still showery to the start of next week, but then a drying trend through next week as temperatures are lifting up. It's also drying out, so high pressure's bridging in from the Azores, and this dry trend really takes us through towards the end of the month. Right at the very end of the GFS ensembles, just looks a little bit more unsettled there, running down towards the final couple of days of March, but that's a very long way off. It's in the really extended range, and we can quite clearly see it looks pretty dry now through the course of next week and running in towards the end of the month. Temperature anomalies from the 15th through to the 23rd of March, generally a little bit milder than average, generally a little bit above average. Expect those to trend warmer in the days ahead. Precipitation anomalies close to average, still a little bit wetter than average, you'll notice, for parts of Wales and northwest England. That's mainly down to tomorrow's wet over. It's going to be quite a deluge across parts of the country tomorrow that will deliver a really wet day to parts of Wales and northern England. It's enough actually to skewer the overall precipitation anomaly for the week just in that one day. Tomorrow. Expect these charts to trend drier once tomorrow is out of the way. Over in America, it looks pretty cold across the east of the states. Cold and average temperature anomalies for many of those eastern states. It looks milder out in the west, although it does vary a little bit from state to state. And quite a dry scene across many parts of America as well, from the 15th to 23rd of March. Generally, precipitation anomalies drier than average. This is how the GFS operational run looks for Monday. So we're already starting to ridge this high pressure up from the southwest. It'll be quite a cold day on Monday. Winds will be in from the north, but it doesn't take long through next week to bat the wind into west-southwest. And we're going to start to pull milder air in from off the Atlantic. Middle of next week looks very spring-like. High pressure centred to our south. Low pressure up to the north. We're in these balmy southwesterly winds, so probably will be quite a lot of cloud around, particularly for northwestern parts of the country, but some decent sunny spells I would have thought in the south and southeast. And temperatures going up into the mid-teens Celsius, and that looks very nice as well through Thursday with that high pressure bringing proper spring-like conditions. At the end of next week, just a little bit more unsettled. There's some sort of cold front moving down across the country there Friday to Saturday. That might bring a band of rain with it, but notice high pressure is still relatively close to us, and as we get towards day 10, we start to find this high pressure beginning to start to intensify again. So it does look as though the trends are very much towards high pressure as we're moving into the final stages of March. We've gone a little bit beyond day 10 now to Wednesday, 27th of March, but we've still got high pressure well and truly in charge of the pattern. And look at that, that's how we finish up with the 6 o'clock operational GFS run. We've got 1,035 millibar area of high pressure right over top of the UK, so lots of dry and probably quite warm weather, maybe chilly at night, but I would have thought by day, plenty of sunshine at the end of March should be pretty warm. We've gone through to British summertime as well, of course, by then. We'll have put the clocks forward an hour, so we'll have the light nights back with us as well by that point. This is the parallel GFS run as well, so the high pressure is bridging up from the southwest through Monday. Probably quite cold though on Monday, but Tuesday, Wednesday we start to pull up these milder winds from off the Atlantic. It probably brings with it quite a lot of cloud, particularly to the north and west, but the south and east should have plenty of sunny spells, and it looks really mild, pleasantly mild conditions through to the end of next week. Just a little bit more unsettled again around 23rd of March, Saturday 23rd, with this low pressure. It's in a different position compared to the operational GFS run, but it does look a little bit more unsettled then. However, that low pressure kind of gets pushed away to the southwest as high pressure rebuilds over the UK and to our east. As you move towards the very end of the parallel GFS run, setting up a little bit of a Scandinavian high, so try to pull in some colder easterly winds, but I don't think it's a particularly cold scenario. It just looks mainly dry as we run towards the end of March. And the ECMWF, again, the trends are very similar, quite chilly on Monday, but through Tuesday and Wednesday, the high pressure rebuilds from the southwest, takes over the weather. That's how we look at the end of next week. Friday, the 22nd of March, has high pressure again centered over just a little bit to the east of the country. Pleasantly warm, I would have thought, very mild, maybe quite warm. And certainly from the south and the east, there should be plenty of sunshine coming through of that. Just a little bit more unsettled again as we get towards the 23rd, 24th of March, with this area of low pressure to the north, maybe bring some showery rain to northern parts of the country. By the time we get through to day 10, Monday 25th of March, it looks like we're re-establishing the high pressure. If we could run out another day or so, I suspect we will see this ridge that's beginning to reform across the country at day 10, Monday 25th of March. I suspect we would see that ridge develop into a proper area of high pressure. These are the options that are on the table within the ECM ensembles at day 10. So day 10, of course, is the 25th of March. This is 240 hours away. It's from the Icelandic Met Office. So we've got 23 members of the ECM ensembles that have high pressure over and to the north of the country. So obviously they're very settled. Probably not overly warm, but I would have thought they're very pleasant, bringing in the winds from an easterly direction. Then there's 16, including the operational and control ECM run. The operational run is the run we're just looking at, of course, that have high pressure sort of over and to the east of the country as a ridge. So not as strong with a high pressure as these 23, but nevertheless the ridge is still in control. And then we have 12 that have high pressure sort of centered to the southwest of us. They also pretty dry, jet streams going in that sort of position. And they'd be bringing a lot of dry and quite mild, if not warm weather. In 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got in the ECM ensembles today. This is the 30th of March, 360 hours. So we have 22 members of the ECM ensembles with a ridge from the Atlantic through the UK and into Europe. The jet streams going up there, so obviously they're mainly dry and very settled. Then there's 17, again, with high pressure bridging from the Atlantic into the UK, and quite a strong area of high pressure just towards Scandinavia. So again, they're mainly dry, quite settled, maybe a little bit of a chillier easterly wind with those 17. And then there's 12 that are just a little bit more unsettled. They've got the high pressure sort of to the northwest of us, with an area of low pressure kind of like 2 hours south. They'd be bringing in sort of an easterly flow, so not overly mild, and the trough to our south might be providing some rain, particularly to southern parts of the country. But it's only 12 of those. They're a minority option, and I think the ECM ensembles to the end of March are really quite set on having a lot of anticyclonic influences. Talking of anticyclonic influences, we'll just finish with this. This is the CFS V2 700 millibar height anomaly for April. And, well, at the moment, looks like the CFS is going for a really high-pressure dominated month in April, with a big area of above-average height centred over Scandinavia, but also ridging into the UK. The winds will be coming more or less from an easterly direction, so it may not be an overly warm month. Depends on the exact origins of the easterly in April as to whether it will be quite a chilly easterly or whether it would be a relatively warm easterly. But certainly anticyclonic influences are there big time for April, which means that as we get to the temperature anomaly, that's coming out milder than average. April being forecast by the CFS to be much warmer than average month, not just for the UK, but for most parts of Europe as well. So high pressure back in business was the title of JMA Friday. And it looks as though we see these signs within the shorter range time frame as well. Not going to be continuous high pressure. We will get, it looks like we're going to get a slightly more unsettled spell over next weekend. So not this weekend, but the next weekend, 23rd, 24th of March. May go a little bit more unsettled then. But if it does, it looks like high pressure will very quickly start to rebuild again through the final week of March. So essentially, we're going back to high and dry, it looks like, with the weather in the next couple of weeks. And it appears, if CFS is right anyway, we was picking up on this within JMA Friday, it appears that this high pressure is likely to be pretty dominant as we go through into April as well. We should wait and see on that. Right, that's it for your videos for today. Tomorrow got weekend forecast, CFA 6-month rocket coming up tomorrow as well, and a week to 10-day video update. Sunday we'll have some more summer analogues for you, a new analogues update for the summer, and there'll be Gaz Rabbit City Roundup as well on summer 2, on Sunday too. But that's all for now, and thanks for watching.